name is Kyoko Heshiimu. I am an artist and poet. I don't know what else to say about myself, but I did this collection. This is called a spruce grouse. It's an endangered animal. They're declining because of the habitat. A lot of the spruce and fir trees are being torn down, and that's kind of helps them camouflage. People are hunting them as well because they are game. And climate change is another thing that's making them become endangered. So for this piece, it was really important because we're dealing with endangered animals to utilize a lot of natural products. So I made the background using recycled magazines. I had my brother-in-law, he made me a custom-made decal so that I could make it so large, because decals don't normally come this large to make paper. So I was very fortunate that he was able to do that for me. So that the paper is very thick. I made the color using using resin that you usually use for soap, and also natural products like beet juice. So a lot of the red is beet juice. To color the paper that I used for his wings and stuff, I used a combination of turmeric. I used coffee beans. It was really important for me to use a lot of natural stuff. So I put also in the paper, I put seeds for plants, for herbs and flowers, so that if it goes back in the ground, it can sprout new life. I made the texture from because they have a lot of different type of feathers, using different flowers and branches. I went to the beach and I took the feathers from the seagulls and recycled the seagull leaves. There's a very minimal paint just to get some of the white, because white flowers is very, very hard to come across as white. They tend to get a more of a off-white color. As you can see here, these are flowers, but they're not white. So very minimally did I actually use acrylic paint. And in here, these lines are made with waxed thread, but everything is most things on here are safe for the environment, because I didn't want to cause more problems for the environment, because it's one of the things the endangered animals are having to deal with and suffering from. This is the Indiana bat, as well as it's endangered. It's people, humans that are messing with their habitat. So they're disturbing their habitats. They live in caves. So I used the feathers, so you can't even see the feathers because I wrapped it with the wax thread to get the thin lines. Just to make sure the face could be seen, I used a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of paint, but that's the only part that most they're a little bit of the gray, because I couldn't find gray. But background is all natural liquid, so it's layers upon layers, because it's very hard to get black. This is all leaves, different leaves, and all of this is collected from Staten Island. From walking around, I did not take anything from Staten Island that was alive, so anything that had fallen off onto the floor already is what I picked up. If I went anywhere, we just collected everything. All the paper is handmade, recycled from old magazines from other past projects I did, because I'm a collage artist, and so it was important for me to recycle and not waste things. Yes. This is a piece that I did based on Jamaica. I went to Jamaica last year, and it had a big influence on me because my dad is Jamaican, and it was the first time I was able to get to Jamaica. And since it's Juneteenth, I lived in a West Indian neighborhood for 23 years of my life. So it was really important for me to create something that helped me feel connected, not just to Jamaica, but to being raised in America, because I was born in America. But being there made me feel home too, and they treated me and said such like welcome home. So I wanted to connect the two together. A lot of the pieces I used to collage this, I did a mural with third and fourth graders, and I had them make textured paper. And so I used all of their scraps. So again, instead of throwing it in the garbage and letting it go to waste, I decided to reuse these pieces that they cut up, that they were gonna throw in the garbage, to create something else that was beautiful. And this way it saves the environment as well, because it's less paper being thrown into the garbage and disturbing the environment. So what I integrated on top of it was my acrylic, and it's just what I was seeing there, it's just a lot. I went into the market a little bit to see a lot of like clothes and people, but there's lots of, I've mixed two scenes together from when I was on the bus. So this is not all a scene, but I wanted to merge so it felt like what I felt like amplifies what I felt like while I was in Jamaica. This is the Eastern Mud, no, this is not the Eastern Mud Turtle. This is the Pug-Nosed Shiner. For this piece, I used, again, things from nature that I found. So when I went to the beach, the waters in Staten Island, they kept getting all these mussels coming into the water, so I started collecting them because it reminded me of the fins and the scales on the fish. So I used the mussels to represent the scales. My kids had brought home pine cones one day, so I pulled apart the pine cones and then included them on the scales. I have I dried orange peels from the kids eating instead of throwing them away, and use them to incorporate in the scales as well. This is from one of the houses when I walked and took the kids to the doctors. So I found this great this faunery was on the floor as I did my walks, just naturally. The 3D effect is from, again, me layering, making different color paper from, like I said, the turmeric, I used beet juice and just different, a lot of different foods. I don't even remember them anymore, but I had the pug-nosed shriner. Again, it's an endangered animal. They need to survive with clear water, and they're dying off because their water is too muddy and they can't see. They can't find where their food is. So it's again us creating pollution in the waters that's causing them to die off. So they're really important as well. This is another piece from Jamaica that I was making based on Jamaica. It does remind me of Staten Island a lot, just because we have the trees. It's one of the boroughs that when I'm in, it's where I get to see trees, really. And I merged two pieces that I tried to take up the same spot together. Again, it's using all the student stuff, except for I put real flowers in here that I collected on Staten Island, to incorporate, to make it really feel like trees and leaves, and I just feel like the drips and stuff like that, I started to add all into these pieces, because I don't know, there was just a different feel when I was in Staten Island. One, Jamaica is very hot, but here the summers, I feel that too. And so it's starting to get hot out, and so I was starting to feel that as well. So I started adding the drips to represent the heat. These are the Eastern Mud Turtles. Again, I added pine cones in here. These blue flowers that I ended up purchasing, the blue flowers, because I could not find blue. It's very hard to find blue dyes. So, because despite what people think blueberries do not dye blue. They dye more of a reddish color, so I had to find other outlets for blue for fine water, but the water with the Eastern mud turtles wasn't quite clear. That's why they're called mud turtles. I wanted to reflect the sun, so I used a flower to represent it and the reflection, so I used another flower there. The log is coffee beans, and I believe I used something else to get this one darker. Well, I know I used something else, but I don't remember what I used at this moment. But it might have just been me seeping it longer, because some of that, I know with the reds and the oranges, the turmeric, the longer you let it set and seep in, the darker it got, the oranger it got. You had to use beet juice and combining the different herbs help make a different color. The weeds are just from in front of my house, and I'm just collecting anything, like I said, anything from nature, drying things out. This one, the Eastern mud turtle, they're dying out because trying to cross streets, a lot of them are getting run over. Some people are collecting them as pets, which is also making them go endangered. And they don't have sufficient living spaces. So that's what again, it's human nature that is killing them off. This is another one of my Jamaica pieces. Again, I use it because it kind of reminds me of Staten Island, the people outside and, seeing indoors, the people hanging outside. It still has that same feel, I feel like, when I'm here. And again, incorporating the drips and the colors from the students, and then I went and painted on top of that to find what things match together. But I really loved it, because everything, even the clothes that they wore, everything, there was always a sign, like this said, what's cooking, and this is like beautiful home, beautiful gift, and beautiful you. So everything I was seeing there just felt very inspirational, so it inspired me to want to represent them in collage. This is the North Atlantic right whale. At the time I made this, there was only 100 female whales left. I think it has declined even more. I've been seeing them in the news a lot over the last few years. This one is the only one that is not 100% can't go back into the earth. All the other pieces can. This one cannot, because to get this blue, I had to use acrylic. So that blue is made from thin down acrylic, but it is still acrylic. I had to incorporate into it. And then the glitter, it is recycled glitter from my kids, one of their projects that they were making. They were gonna get rid of one of the glitter sets. It was just left over from one of their projects. So it's still recyclable. It's still recycled, but it's not recyclable, because that cannot go back into the earth. But I wanted to use it because I felt like it made it feel more like the water and the glimmer and the shine that comes from the water when you look out on it. Because even when the water is murky, you still get a shimmer and a shine from it. These little copepods that I made are flowers that I took from my mother's garden, which they're all over the place on Staten Island, these little flowers. And that's what they reminded me of. I was like, this is perfect. They look like the little copepods. The copepods are really important for the water. The whale, it helps keep the water clean. It helps feeds all the fish and the life in the water. The whales, they actually feed off, these little copepods feed off of the whale poop. And it's not just these little copepods. And since the sea life feeds off of so much of them, it's important because their poop is feeding them, and the whales eat them as well. So they kind of work hand in hand, These whales are dying off because of the sounds from all of the boats and stuff that are in the water. The whales cannot hear each other to tell them where they are to mate, where the food sources are. So it's causing a lot of problems. They're also getting hit by the boats, which is killing them off. And since there's such a low number of them, there's not enough of them for breeding to really help the levels rise. But thank you so much for coming to my exhibit. I hope you enjoyed all the work. Thank you, Kenny and Kimbra, for having me exhibit my work here. I hope you enjoyed everything that you saw.